Hello, dear listener. Today's topic is the impact of infidelity on attachment, rebuilding trust in relationships. Infidelity in romantic relationships can be defined differently depending on each couple's individual dynamics. For some individuals, exceeding the boundaries of emotional or physical intimacy is seen as infidelity, while for others, any sharing or conversation involving secrecy can mean a breach of trust. Attachment theory reminds us that each individual experiences their needs for intimacy, trust, and belonging in relationships in their own unique ways. The experience of infidelity is not only a behavioral violation, but also a profound breach of trust in the attachment system. Therefore, the impact of infidelity on attachment is often felt at a biological level. The person cannot feel safe, the foundations of the relationship are shaken, and the attachment system needs restructuring. What happens after infidelity when emotional distress and trust are compromised? Research shows that many people may experience symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, after being cheated on. These symptoms include the event can manifest as repeated mental replays, avoidance behaviors, intense anxiety, or hyperarousal. However, no matter how profound the effects, this process doesn't always have to be destructive. With the right support, open communication, and the rebuilding of emotional trust, many couples can establish their relationship on a deeper, more mindful, and resilient foundation after this challenging experience. The repair process following infidelity can be a process that reshapes not only the relationship, but also the individual's capacity to trust themselves and others. Now, let's get to the question, why do we cheat? Dear listener, if you've listened this far, take a breath. If you enjoyed the content and want to watch other videos, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. Yes, now we continue from where we left off. The reasons for infidelity, as well as its definition, can vary for each individual and each relationship. Sometimes, the root of this behavior lies in the individual's own internal processes, while other times, emotional patterns and communication styles within the relationship are decisive. From an attachment theory perspective, infidelity is often not simply an act of disloyalty, but rather an outward manifestation of a conflict within an individual's attachment system. Personally rooted reasons may include fear of intimacy, a need for approval and admiration, a tendency to avoid problems, or impulsivity. These factors serve a self-protective function because the individual does not feel secure in emotional intimacy. On the other hand, relational patterns can also pave the way for infidelity. Dynamics such as lack of communication, emotional distance, the accumulation of unresolved conflicts, or sometimes a desire to end the relationship, can lead individuals to seek connection outside the relationship. However, since each relationship dynamic is unique, it is important not to generalize the underlying reasons for these experiences. The repair process? Is it possible to reconnect? Infidelity is one of the most challenging experiences in romantic relationships where trust is shattered. During this process, couples often struggle with difficult emotions such as shock, anger, guilt, shame, and panic. This emotionally complex period can be likened to two people lost in a labyrinth trying to find their way back to each other. At this point, professional support can help partners both understand their individual emotional processes and reestablish emotional contact with each other. The primary goal in couples therapy is to provide the emotional stabilization and accessibility necessary for rebuilding trust. The hurt partner may feel the need to talk repeatedly, ask questions, or express difficult emotions to make sense of what happened. For the other partner, this process is filled with difficult emotions such as shame, guilt, and regret. At this stage of therapy, the couple's transparent, consistent, and empathetic approach to each other is one of the most important elements supporting the safety of the process. The therapist, in this process, takes on the role of a guide, facilitating communication between the partners and helping them to create a relationship map together. What are the emotional reactions behind infidelity? According to attachment theory, people react strongly when bonds in a relationship are damaged. These reactions are essentially an attempt to reestablish emotional security and self-regulate. A partner shaken by infidelity struggles with the question of how can I trust again, while simultaneously needing to be heard, understood, and comforted. The conflicting nature of these two needs complicates the process. If the cheating partner is willing to take responsibility and repair the relationship, and if there was a pre-existing foundation of security, the repair process progresses more smoothly. However, in cases of infidelity, where sharing has deepened over a long period or responsibility has been denied, couples may find pursuing repair riskier. In this case, the process can become more marked by anger, stress, and other negative emotions. It can progress through protective reactions such as defending, blaming, or emotional withdrawal. Now, let's talk about rebuilding emotional trust. According to attachment theory, an individual's internal belief system about themselves and their partner can be significantly shaken after an experience of betrayal. Thoughts like, I am inadequate, I am worthless, the bond between us was fake, threaten both a person's sense of security and intimacy, and can also shake their perception of both their relationship and themselves. Susan Johnson, the founder of the emotionally focused therapy model, defines these deep emotional wounds that arise from the shattering of trust after betrayal or abandonment as attachment wounds. Healing these wounds not only repairs the pain of the past, but also creates an opportunity to establish a new emotional bond in the relationship. With the right therapeutic support, many couples can turn this difficult experience into a turning point. Betrayal can be more of a process of reconstruction than destruction. The experience of infidelity is a process that undermines trust in relationships and is emotionally draining. However, research and therapeutic experiences show that when couples take responsibility and communicate openly, instead of blaming or withdrawing, they can patiently rebuild their relationships after this challenging process. The relationship may not return to its former state, but often a new we story, a stronger bond, and a new form of emotional intimacy can emerge. Honesty and confrontation are the most critical steps in this process. Sometimes lies or denials told out of fear of losing the relationship further damage trust instead of repairing it. Therefore, it is important for couples to seek professional support early in the process to achieve emotional stabilization and create a safe space. What happened in our story? Finding meaning again. During this process, couples begin to confront questions such as, why did this happen? How did our relationship get to this point? What was each of our role in this? What unmet needs did this experience reveal to us? When these questions are addressed not to blame, but to understand and reconnect with the emotional dynamics of the relationship, they transform the relationship and give couples hope. Susan Johnson emphasizes that we need a safe haven to cope with challenging life experiences. A secure bond begins to reestablish when partners can emotionally access each other and repeatedly experience being understood, comforted, and accepted during vulnerable moments. At this stage, couples get to know each other again, recognize their relationship needs, communicate openly, and rebuild the feeling of "we are a team." This secure bond creates a new emotional foundation for the future of the relationship. According to the emotionally focused therapy approach, couples often become trapped in negative interaction cycles in the post-infidelity period. This cycle can manifest as blaming, defensiveness, withdrawal, or distancing. In the later stages of therapy, couples become aware of and work through this cycle. Instead of this cycle, they create an emotionally accessible, sensitive, and open communication model. This new form of interaction not only repairs the experience of infidelity, but also makes the emotional bond of the relationship deeper, safer, and more sustainable. In conclusion, infidelity doesn't have to be the end of a relationship. With the right support, this process can transform into a journey of growth where both partners rediscover themselves and each other, rebuilding trust, transparency, and intimacy. So, what are your thoughts on this? Can a relationship that has been shaken to its foundations revive and blossom again? Please share your opinions in the comments. See you in the next video. Take care. Goodbye.